Good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning, Miss Dominguez.
Okay, boys and girls, we're going to be learning about the life cycle of a frog, and we're going to be reading a book, Fish is Fish by Leo Leone. First, I want you to look at the cover of the book and think about what this story may be about. Yes, Delilah.
I think this book is gonna be about a fish that wants to fly.
A fish that wants to fly. Yes, that could be one of the topics.
I see a fish thinking of looking the way.
You see a fish flying, yes. So, but today we're going to be learning about the life cycle of a frog, and this picture shows a picture of a fish. Okay, so before we get started, Michael is going to give you a KWL chart. We've done this before, and this chart, I want you to write in the first column what you think you already know about a frog. In the second column, I want you to write what you would like to know about a frog. And then when we're all done, we're going to write on the L column what we learned, okay? So start working on that, and then we're going to read the book Fish is Fish. Okay, great. So let's start reading Fish is Fish by Leo Leone. At the edge of the woods, there was a pond, and there a minnow and a tadpole swam among the weeds. They were inseparable friends. One morning, the tadpole discovered that during the night he had grown 2 little legs. "Look," he said triumphantly. "Look, I am a frog." "Nonsense," said the minnow. "How could you be a frog if only last night you were a little fish just like me?" They argued and argued until finally the tadpole said, "Frogs are frogs and fish is fish, and that's it." In the weeks that followed, the tadpole grew tiny front legs and his tail got smaller and smaller. So can you see from the picture what is happening to the frog?
Yes.
What is happening to the frog?
He's transforming into from tadpole to frog.
So a frog, and how do you know that?
Because in the text it says his tail. One day he was just like a little fish, and he looked like a little fish. Then he grew a tail and back legs, and now today in the story his tail got even shorter.
Excellent, yes. So let me show you this picture, and it can show you a little bit of what I'm reading. So he starts off as an egg, then he's a tadpole, and now he's starting to have front legs start to break through, like in the picture, okay? So now, let's continue reading. "And then one fine day, a real frog, now he climbed out of the water and onto the grassy banks." So you see him he's coming out of the water. He was a fish, and now he's becoming a full-grown frog. The minnow too had grown and had become a full-fledged fish. He often wondered where his 4-footed friend had gone, but days and weeks went by and the frog did not return. Then one day, with a happy splash that shook the weeds, the frog jumped into the pond. "Where have you been?" asked the fish excitedly. I have been about the world, hopping here and there, said the frog, and I have seen extraordinary things. Like what? Asked the fish. Birds, said the frog mysteriously. Birds? And he told the fish about the birds who have wings and 2 legs and many, many colors. As the frog talked, his friend saw the birds fly through his mind like large feather fish. What else? Asked the fish impatiently. So you see how he's imagining the fish with feathers and feet. Cows, said the frog. Cows, they had 4 legs, horns, eat grass, and carry pink bags of milk. And people, said the frog, men, women, children, and he talked and talked until it was dark in the pond. But the picture in the fish's mind was full of lights and colors and marvelous things, and he couldn't sleep. Ah, if he could only jump about like his friend and see the wonderful world. See how he's imagining? And so the days went by. The frog had gone, and the fish just lay there dreaming about birds and flights, crazy cows, and those strange animals all dressed up that his friends called people. One day he finally decided that come what may, he too must see them. And so with a mighty whack of the tail, he jumped clear out of the water onto the bank. You see that? He landed in the dry, warm grass, and there he lay, gasping for air, unable to breathe or to move. Help! He groaned feebly. Groaned was one of our vocabulary words. What does groaned mean? Yes, Delilah.
Groan mean like the sound.
Yes, very good. Excellent. Luckily, the frog, who had been hunting butterflies nearby, saw him and with all his strength pushed him back into the pond. See him? Pushing the fish back into the pond?
Helping.
Yeah. Still stunned, the fish floated about for an instant. Then he breathed deeply, letting the clean, cool water run through his gills. What are his gills? What are the gills?
Gills are like little slits in a fish's side, and since the fish can't go up for oxygen, it takes the oxygen from the water and it goes through the gills and it processes through its body and that's its oxygen.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you, Delilah. Now he felt weightless again, and with an ever so slight motion of the tail, he could move to and fro, up and down as before. The sun rays reached out within the weeds and gently shift patches of luminous color. This world was surely the most beautiful of all worlds. He smiled at his friend the frog, who sat watching him from a lily leaf. You were right, he said. Fish is fish. Okay, boys and girls. So this is a picture of the life cycle of a frog. As we discussed, it was first a tadpole, then it had front legs break through, and then he became he jumped out of the water. Remember when he jumped out of the water and was on the land, and he's now a tadpole. So this is the life cycle of a frog. We're going to discuss in further the life cycle of a frog. I want you to watch this short video so you can understand better the life cycle of a frog.
Changes. Female frogs lay tiny, soft eggs in the water. Tadpoles hatch from the eggs. They look really different from adult frogs. Tadpoles breathe underwater through gills. As they get older, they grow the back legs and then the front legs. They lose their gills and develop lungs, and then lose their tails. When they become adult frogs, females can lay eggs and the cycle starts again. What is happening to frogs? Today, many frogs are losing.
Okay, boys and girls, so we saw the life cycle of a frog. Now, let me just click out of here. So after watching this short video, we can fill the column of what I learned in the L column. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to fill the L column. And then we're going to talk about, we're going to speak about, after you're done with that, about, let's think about how were the fish and the frog alike at the beginning of the story? In what ways did they become different from each other as they grew? How did the fish feel when he heard about the many things the frog had seen? What happened to the fish when he jumped out of the water? What did he learn from this? And was the frog a good friend to the fish? And why do you think that? So once we're done filling out the what I learned about the life cycle of a frog, we're going to get into small groups and we're going to talk about all these different questions, okay? And I'm going to give you a handout once you go into your groups, and you can speak about, you're going to compare and contrast the fish and the frog, how are they alike and how are they different, okay, boys and girls?
Okay.
Okay, let's get working.